These are photos of the Civil War that have been brought to life by modern technology after 160 years. Using advanced AI tools, I've enhanced these historic images so you can see the faces, expressions and details that were lost to time. These are not modern reenactors. These are actual Civil War soldiers whose images were captured on the front lines of battle, in the trenches, in the moments just before they died. Some of them are so haunting that even today their eyes reveal the terror of combat, the pain of injury, or the sadness that comes with knowing your time has run out. And in some cases, it's the only record we have of the men who fought for the Confederacy, the Union. What you're about to see is so realistic that at times it feels wrong to be looking at. It's like peering into the past through a time portal. The reason why this is possible is because the lenses used by photographers in the mid-1800s caused the images to become fogged over time. This is called veiling, and it prevented us from being able to see the details in the photos. But now we can use AI to see what was hidden in plain sight all along. I want to warn you though, there is one image in particular that is very disturbing. It's the photo of the kneeling Confederate soldier that shows the aftermath of a Union bayonet attack. As you'll see, the soldier's insides are spilling out of his body. So if that's too much for you, skip ahead to the next image using the chapters in the video. Now turn away from your screen if you're easily disturbed. He looks intense, but it's hard to imagine how well you could actually see the target when aiming down the barrel like that. But he was probably experienced enough to know what he was doing. He would have needed to squint and take a deep breath before pulling the trigger. Next to him is his good friend. This was an era where soldiers would write letters with their best friends back home, telling stories of their adventures and misadventures on the front line. They would describe their hopes for the future, their fears, and everything they saw around them. They would sometimes send those letters home or tuck them inside their uniforms, so they would be with them always. It was a way for them to keep their humanity during the darkest days of war. Here is another example of a Union soldier aiming his gun. In the Civil War, most of the rifles used by the soldiers were muzzle loaders. This meant the soldier had to load his gun from the front before firing it. He would first pour gunpowder down the barrel, followed by a lead ball, then depending on the weapon, either a percussion cap or a paper cartridge containing a primer would be placed on the end before the gun was discharged. It took a lot of time to reload, so soldiers often fired 3 to 6 rounds, then had to stop and reload. This is a man whose duty was to carry a large flag for the Union Army. He looks tired. That's because the Civil War lasted for more than 4 years, and the men carrying these flags likely did it for most of those years. These men weren't necessarily soldiers, but their role was important in helping troops navigate through smoke and fire, so they knew which direction to move in. It was dangerous work, but someone had to do it. This Union soldier is looking off into the distance. He appears to be thinking about something, perhaps a loved one back home, or a recent loss he suffered on the battlefield. Whatever it is, it's clear he's not really focused on the task at hand. It's important to remember, these photos aren't just historical artifacts. They're also works of art. The photographer had to compose each shot carefully, considering things like lighting and perspective. It's a reminder that even in the midst of war, there is still beauty to be found. Now let's look at this man from the other side. He is a member of the Confederate Army. His outfit is different. Can you tell which side he's fighting for based on what he's wearing? If you guessed the South, you'd be correct. During the Civil War, the North and the South had distinct styles of dress for their soldiers. The Union Army wore darker colors, while the Confederates wore lighter colors, making them easier to spot. This also helped the soldiers distinguish between friend and foe. Here is another Confederate soldier. His face has been restored to show the world what he looked like more than 150 years ago. His uniform is dusty and dirty. It's easy to forget that these men were real people with real lives. They weren't just figures in a history book. They had families and friends who loved them, and they dreamed of a better future for themselves. These men were fierce fighters, willing to do whatever it took to win the war. This is especially evident in the eyes of the Confederate soldier staring directly at the camera. There is a wild look in his eyes that suggests he has seen things no one should ever see. But he is still standing strong, ready to defend his country. Here is a group of Confederate soldiers who appear to be resting between battles. They're sitting on a log, smoking cigars and talking amongst themselves. One of them is missing an arm, likely lost in a previous engagement. Despite their injuries and fatigue, they remain cheerful, finding moments of joy in the midst of a terrible conflict. Here is a close-up of a Confederate soldier's face. The dirt on his face is so thick it looks like he hasn't washed it in months. The beard he's wearing wasn't just for style. It was practical, protected his jaw and neck from the elements, and shielded him from minor cuts and scrapes. Beards were also a sign of masculinity and courage, which was important during a time when men were expected to be strong and fearless. Here is a Confederate soldier whose face has been eroded by the harsh conditions of war. His eyes tell the story of a man who has seen too much death and destruction. The haunted look in his eyes suggests that he is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He is just one of many soldiers who returned home from war forever changed by their experiences. Here's a rare photo of a Native American soldier who fought for the Union Army. It's believed that only a few hundred Native Americans served in the Civil War, but their contributions are often overlooked. This soldier is a reminder of the diversity of the Union Army and the many different cultures that came together to fight for freedom. The photo we're about to see is extremely disturbing. It shows a Confederate soldier who was bayoneted by Union troops, leaving his insides spilled out onto the ground beside him. This is a rare and graphic image that provides a glimpse into the brutal realities of war. Viewer discretion is advised, as this image may be too graphic for some viewers. If you skipped ahead, this is the photo you avoided. It shows the aftermath of a bayonet attack on a Confederate soldier. The image is intended to serve as a reminder of the brutal realities of war and the human cost of conflict. And now, moving on. Let's see what life was like for the African Americans who fought for the Union Army. Here's a group of black soldiers who proudly display their weapons. They stand tall and strong, ready to defend their country and fight for their freedom. Their uniforms may be different, but their bravery is just as great as any other soldier. During the Civil War, African Americans made up about 10% of the Union Army. They faced racism and discrimination, but they also showed incredible courage and determination. These soldiers were instrumental in winning the war and securing freedom for themselves and future generations. This is a black soldier who stands out not just because of his race, but because of the expression on his face. He is confident and proud, unafraid of the challenges that lie ahead. His uniform is a symbol of equality, showing that he is just as much a part of the Union Army as any other soldier. Here is another black soldier who gazes off into the distance. He is contemplative and serious, lost in thought as he surveys the landscape. This is a powerful image that captures the humanity of these soldiers and reminds us that they were real people with complex emotions and experiences. Here is a black soldier who is marching forward with determination. He is part of a group of soldiers who are on their way to battle. The men are tired, but they press on, driven by their commitment to the cause. They are fighting for freedom and equality, and they won't be deterred by obstacles. The Civil War was a defining moment in American history. It was a time of great turmoil and tragedy, but also of great courage and sacrifice. These photos are a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. They remind us that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter future. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below to share your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the Civil War and the brave soldiers who fought for our nation. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. Your support means everything to me and helps me continue bringing you amazing videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.